Hello everyone, and welcome back to Dungeons & Dragons The Second Age. How are we all doing?
Pretty good.
Good.
Excellent. So, without further ado, who wants to go ahead and remind us of what happened the last time we played the game?
So, we had just arrived on the floating island that contained a big spooky, fancy, abandoned fortress
Yes.
that was home to the Tempest.
Citadel of Golden Spires.
That one. And we have a simple mission: obtain a decently sized chunk of atrine, a special crystal that can act as the catalyst for our super awesome mega spell that we want to create and cast. So we venture inside. Everything is very, very frozen over, basically. Giant ice everywhere, and we explore. We get attacked by the air, literally the air, just things in the air that are invisible because they are the air. But we fight them off, and then in the next room over, we only go and encounter some big evil salamanders. Ooh. But luckily, Elizabeth is able to communicate with these salamanders in the ancient primordial language, and she manages to convince these salamanders to allow them to search the lower floors of the citadel for atrine, because they don't care for what's in it. They just don't want people showing up and trying to establish base again.
Well, they don't want people to wake up the
they don't want people
primordial.
to wake up the evil the big tempest.
Yes, I felt like that was their main priority.
So we essentially Skyrim glitch our way through a door by just teleporting through it, and down we head into a large treasure vault that is completely empty. Luckily, I, for the fourth time in that session, tried to search for a hidden door and get a tiny electric shock from a bit of the wall. As we find a secret mechanism that we need to charge with lightning, which we completely break because Kelariis breathes on it. But sure enough, it reveals a staircase through the floor, and as we head down, we find a passworded door in an anti-magic field. And it takes us way too long to find the password, which was what was it again? It was just victory.
Victory.
Yes.
Yeah, it took us way too long, and we had a lot of hints. We still couldn't get it. But eventually we did get in eventually. And once inside, found the stuff that clearly previous treasure hunters had never found, because it was absolutely chock-a-block with crystals, valuables, and magic artifacts, including a nice sizable chunk of atrine, which also happened to be powering the anti-magic field. So, taking the atrine, stopped the anti-magic field. For fear of a weird crown that we found inside being discovered by others, we just scooped up everything, and, if anything was dangerous, we'll protect it the same way we protected the evil crown we found on Latherman's Cay. And yeah, we just scooped it all up and left. That was it. We got what we'd come for. We were able to just leave. We let Elizabeth's parent know that we were all out safe. At which point we met up with Vondal again and got some updates. Our elite squad was basically bringing the rest of their investigations to a close. It should take them a week to close things up in their investigations, they said, so we can expect them home in about 2-3 weeks, somewhere in that ballpark.
No, incorrect.
No?
No, they the primary team said they would be back in a week, but that was 4 or 5 days ago. So we are expecting them in the next couple of days. It's the other team that are going to take a while.
Yeah, the other team, we hadn't heard from them in a while, so we got Vondal to use sending to message them. They said they'd encountered a problem, give them a week to solve it. And they're so far away that it'll take 2-3 weeks for them to get back. But we're trusting we're trusting Sidani and Thalithsyr to solve this problem that they've encountered and get back to us safe. So for the meantime, there's nothing really for us to do except let Elizabeth take the Atrian back up to the Mages College and, well, finish the research.
I did realise one thing in the time between sessions. The Atrian that you have is uncharged after you removed it from the statue. You will still need a way to charge it.
That sounds like a problem we can fix.
Yeah. That sounds like a slightly easier to solve problem. Like, we need to charge it with magic. We've got loads of powerful wizards. We fucking pump spells and pump magic into it. Maybe.
Well, you know it specifically needs to be quote unquote storm energy. So whatever means you come up with to come up with that is
shoot a lightning bolt at it.
Well, we did the there is a certain people known for storms, but
there is.
Yes. Well, anyway.
Either way, it's probably very much doable.
Yes. So we ended on the four of you in the Amber Eagle stronghold, taking a moment of calm. During which Arya received a letter, which I have given her and she has read.
There you go, that'll cheer you up from your meeting.
I what?
Oh no, she's already read it.
Oh, you mean like IRL my meeting? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't mean an in-character thing.
I was like, what meeting did Arya have? But
no.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
I'm talking to you, Luka.
I get it. I get it now.
Yes.
I was just confused initially. I was like, what?
Yeah, that'll cheer you up.
Anyway. Yeah, so I received the letter, and the rest of you sort of milled around doing your own thing. And we were on the dawn of the second day when we paused.
We got the Majora's Mask sound effect. Dun-dun.
Wow. I didn't realize we had a time limit on when we had to, before this guy was about to, end the world.
The moon is
Better hurry up.
Or, kill his next god. It's probably more accurate.
Yeah.
Well, that's essentially a time limit.
Yeah, that is essentially the time limit.
That's a pretty major time limit, actually, now I think about it.
Yep.
Well, besides the fact that the god would be missing, which might be a problem, them absorbing the power might be a bigger problem.
Yeah.
Much bigger. But yes.
I mean, I feel like it's all kind of, combined into one really bad event that we want to avoid.
Yeah.
Oh well. So yeah, we didn't find anything useful in the artifacts that I remember.
There was nothing. Well, yeah, but mostly because all of it is too big for us to use because it's all genie-sized.
Yes, there was some talk of manufacturing a ballista from the three large longbows.
Yeah.
The most ornate ballista in history.
Well, it'd be weird because we'd have to make the base and the rest of the ballista. So the actual bow of the ballista will be really fancy and ornate, and then the rest of it will just be normal.
With the right tools and equipment, it is certainly possible. You could mount them as a either defensive or offensive option.
We've got 3. We can have 2 as defenses for the keep, and we can have 1 on wheels to take with us.
Oh my god.
On bigger engagements. Like next time we go dragon hunting.
Well, we did establish they're basically magical bows, right?
Yes.
So,
Yeah. Magical bows
that would mean we basically have magical ballistas, which.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are arrows of arrows of etherealness, which are basically arrows, magical arrows that can hit ghosts and other ethereal beings.
So we don't even need ammo.
No, we do.
No, you do need ammo.
Oh, okay.
We need ammo. It's just that any regular ammo we shoot can hit ghosts.
Can hit ghosts, yes.
No, that's what I thought it would be. I thought it would be like, because there's the mist on the thing, I thought it would be you draw the bow back and it would just generate an arrow. No.
Nope.
Nothing that cool. We don't have anything that cool.
Well, I think we'll just start with... We'll try and get 2 of them made.
Well, doesn't my bow do that, essentially? I'm making that up.
Yes, but yours is not like 12 feet tall.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying we do have something that cool.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yours doesn't generate ammunition either. It still uses the regular ammunition. It just supercharges them. It has the potential to magically turn one bolt into multiple bolts, but
lame.
Wow, I can take it away again.
Please don't take it away. You've already taken away one of my magical bows.
Luka just immediately starts panicking.
It's like,
no, my bow.
It's already happened once.
All I'm saying is, it's like the bows that we got do not magically generate arrows when we pull the string back, and that's sad.
Agreed.
Good morning, everyone.
All right. Yeah. So what are your plans for the rest of the day?
Well, we're gonna have to find a way to charge the crystal. I guess we'll just start off with a little meeting. Also, like, I did see this, this person on the map.
You did see what? Sorry.
There's this person on the map, and I'm.
There is.
Oh.
It's Tiff.
Oh, what?
Oh, it's Tiff.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
you can't see her name. There we go.
Nope.
Hi, Tiff.
It's an intruder.
We're like, who's this? We have a visitor? Like, no, it's just Tiff. It's just Tiff.
Yeah. It's because I'd forgotten to hide Sidani and Thalithsyr's token, and Tiff's token was still hidden. So I just swapped them.
Oh. Fair enough.
I didn't realize we had a token for Tiff.
We do.
No,
I'm concerned for her now. Why does she need a token?
Well, pretty much everybody has a token.
Ah, fair enough.
I'm sorry, but there has not been a Rask sat in our kitchen 24/7.
There can be.
There should be.
Come
Put
on.
Rask in the kitchen.
Right.
Rask is always in the kitchen, therefore he should be in the kitchen.
Let me just find him. Sure.
Put him in the kitchen.
There you go.
Thank you.
I guess.
Oh, that's not the right token, but never mind.
That's close enough.
But unless Tiff is there for a reason, it stops us.
No. She is a constant fixture running around trying to get everything organized. It is currently her job to basically help organize and fix everything that is happening with the construction. Yeah,
well,
she is the architect. She designed it, so she is coordinating.
Well, yeah, I guess she would be busy for some time. But yes. So how are we planning charging these crystals?
Well, that's the thing. I was going to just take this to the college, and probably plenty of minds there who can think of something. If I can't. Like, what methods would I know of to recharge this crystal?
I mean, give me an Arcana check.
Well, I feel I guess it would also be more of Grim's territory, like mechanical magic.
Yeah, Grim can roll as well, because you have your special bonus, don't you?
Yeah, but it's always on history. I guess
it's the history of artifacts.
Oh yes, it's the history. Yeah, well, you can roll. Yeah. Okay, so between the two of your heads, if If this is to... Well, that's the thing you think with.
No, you think with your brain.
Which is in your head.
But it's not the head.
Anyway. You put your heads together, and between you, basically, you know that any sort of magical artifact that holds charge needs input from an arcane source. This one just happens to need it from a very specific source. This thing is to power your orrery to do what it is that you need to do. This thing probably needs a lot of power, which means that you're either going to have to spend a long time funneling large quantities of magic into it, or you're going to need to find a very large source of power that can happen very quickly. Seeing as Minnie has mentioned it several times, Grim, the thing that springs to mind to you is you saw a storm giant conjure a living lightning storm out of nothing, and you're pretty confident that could generate all the energy you need.
Yeah, I am pretty confident that a storm giant has the power.
Said that.
I know.
Okay. I mean,
as if the DM didn't even have to tell me.
It is quite a long way to go, though.
Yes, but...
I mean, I suppose I could, in theory, contact them directly, but... I mean, I have a better idea.
What is the better idea?
So what if we didn't need to travel to find a storm giant? What if, say, someone here could just temporarily become a storm giant to charge the crystal?
But would you as that would you have enough power? Because even if you become the storm giant, you're it's not like you become magically more potent, I imagine.
I mean, I take on the abilities of the storm giant.
Yeah, but not all storm giants are made alike. Don't get me wrong, you're a powerful wizard, but I imagine if you don't have the strength to do it now...
Grim has an excellent point, I will point out, because the storm giant that you saw that was able to conjure the living storm was a quintessent. They were as much the storm as the storm was them.
But a quintessent is totally something I can turn into.
It is. Do you, when you transform, do you gain access to its legendary actions?
No.
No. Then, whilst you can generate a large amount of power, you will not have access to the same storm that the quintessent had.
Fair enough. So I'd know then that wouldn't work.
Yeah.
In which case you probably wouldn't say any of that.
Well, you work that out between the two of you exchanging.
I suppose, true. Well, I could... Does anyone remember if that storm giant, said she owed us one, or...
Well, there was something along the lines that we could potentially stop by if we survived the way there, kind of.
Yeah, I don't believe that the wording of owing us one was ever used, but I do think that we had open invitation is the best way to put it.
Well, I believe the conversation went along the lines of, I'm going back to my people now, and then you said, can we ever call on you again? And she said, if you can make it through the eye of the storm, then you're welcome to come and find me.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yep. Yeah. We know giants live off to the north somewhere.
You do. Let me take you to the world map.
It's above the mountains of the north.
Yes.
Yeah, that's going to be a long journey. Also, we have to find a place that where there is actually a path to cross the mountains.
Yeah. as a I believe when she talked about it previously, she gave you an idea of roughly where it was, and just as a matter of perspective, it is roughly somewhere here, like up here.
Oh, there. So if we were to head to White Shale, I think we've been up to White Shale before.
You haven't been to White Shale itself, but you've been near it.
Yeah, we've been to.
Okay.
You went to Emberoth previously.
Yeah. Is there not?
Oh,
is
I thought we went past because I thought wow, how did I forget her name? Our monk friend.
Lithari.
Lithari lives in Emberoth, or like
yeah, she was in Emberoth.
Yeah, Lithari's workshop is in Emberoth.
Okay.
There's not a path near Argan Tellerand, is there?
No.
Look like there is, but
no.
Hey, you want to go over the fucking mountains, I guess.
Well,
but...
Argan Tellerand is strategically up against the mountains as a defensive positioning.
Yeah, true.
Well, like it could mean that we can still fly over a little bit. Like it's just because it's not convenient to assault it from that side with an army. Admittedly, it doesn't mean it's convenient to travel, but
Yeah, I mean, and also flying over it would still require us all to be able to fly, which we don't have those. We don't have those giant lizards anymore.
Yeah. Well, and then on top of that, like I think it's just Emberoth is basically like equidistant.
It's pretty close.
So I feel like we might as well go around the mountains then. It's not going to matter.
There is.
I have an important question about the map that's not actually relevant to anything going on right now.
Yes.
Does the Bay of Turtles actually have turtles in it?
Incredibly important question.
Yes, probably.
Nice.
Look, I told you it's not actually relevant to anything. I just was looking at the map. I'm sorry.
Where's the Bay of Turtles?
Over by Eastwick. Probably anything south of the Curran coast, you might start encountering turtles.
Oh yeah,
nice.
Because Scale Coast definitely has turtles. Connacht's Hook, etc.
Bay of Turtles.
Like you start getting tropical like as you start coming down the Scale Coast. So
fair enough.
That's why there's lots of palm trees. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, Emberoth.
I think Emberoth will be our best bet.
Going to Emberoth, crossing the mountains, but before getting to White Shale, I guess we have to head west.
Well, so there is a trade route that runs through there's basically a pass here that the major trade route going north to Whiteshell and Needle Harbour. That's like the main foot route, though most of the traffic comes by ocean because still navigating the path is difficult and dangerous.
I guess that makes sense. But how? I guess it would take us. It would take us a lot of extra time potentially going by, up across the coast, wouldn't it? But it could also save us time depending on the winds, I guess.
Yes. I will also point out that, once you get up to this point, if you start going off the beaten track up this way, your progress is going to be very, very slow because this entire region is basically unmapped. It's the reason it's so blank is because people have very low understanding of what's up here beyond these small colonies. It is home to nomadic Goliath tribes and essentially savage winter beasts, dire wolves, remorays, all sorts of other terrifying monsters.
Winter wolves.
Yeah, winter wolves. Basically, think of any predatory animal, add dire or winter as a suffix, and an ice breath weapon, and you've got it.
Nice.
Nice. Winter gorilla.
Sounds like my kind of place.
Well, Winter Gorilla is
Yep.
basically a Yeti, right?
Yeah.
Winter gorilla.
Yeah, fucking Yeti.
Yes.
And then a dire Yeti, just for fun.
I will point out, if you go to the far north, you're all going to need warm clothes with the exception of Arya.
Ayo.
Well,
It's my type of place. Literally. I mean, I guess there's no avoiding it, right? Like, we kind of have to go up there.
I mean, there is avoiding it. It's just that's the quickest way to get what we want.
And I guess we've been faffing about.
But the
for
question
long
is,
enough.
can you save time by... will the time you potentially save travelling, be enough to warrant not just ploughing magic into it for forever?
A few days.
Well,
hopefully not forever.
Yeah. It's for you to decide. I'm not going to decide for you.
Well, I feel like it's not the big. It's not the tallest of asks that we're at. Well, we're asking them quite something difficult, but comparatively, it's not that bad.
Who are you referring to when you say asking them?
The giants. Once we get there,
I mean, in a sense, it is just can you massively electrocute this crystal?
yes.
And we did technically save one of them from enslavement. But yeah, it's going to be a journey we have to prepare for. They sold warm winter clothes at Emberoth, right?
They probably didn't sell them like openly, but you could probably purchase some around in the region.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know. I think warm winter clothing should be something that we shouldn't have too much trouble obtaining. If you did want to go up there.
Well, do you not think it's a good idea? Because I feel
It's not that I don't think it's a good idea. It's that I don't know. For once, I don't actually have an opinion one way or the other. Much like I assume our silent duo here must have every time we talk.
I mean, I just don't know if we can generate as much power as we need, right? Like,
well, we can. It would just take a few days, maybe more.
It depends how much power your wizards have at the disposal,
and how much we're willing to just slam into this thing.
Yeah.
I suppose if we had me, we'd probably have. I mean, I'm willing to throw absolutely everything I have into this crystal. We've got the the professor of divination. He seemed eager enough to just slam loads of magic in there. There's been a lot of eager students who've been participating in who participated in our program. They might be willing to
see. I don't doubt that we can't find. We could probably find a ton of volunteers, but let's be honest, most of those volunteers, it's maybe they might speed it up like half a day, of you just you having an additional rest one day. Come forward, but we don't know how much we actually have to dump in there.
I mean, it's probably still faster than us traveling all the way up there, isn't it?
It is going to take us a long time to get up there, and as is pointed out, it's completely unmapped territory.
I think that's less of the concern, considering that we have Arya and.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think we're gonna get lost.
Well, yeah.
But also, we can't guarantee that they're going to be willing to do that. It seems like a small ask, but it's still not something that we can guarantee.
No, but that's in the same way we can't guarantee that we'll ever be able to fill the crystal.
Do we need to fill it completely? I would assume so. Otherwise, this
that would be the safest bet.
Well, you'd completely is sort of ambiguous. It is
we don't know how much it can hold.
You need enough power to be able to complete the operation that Elizabeth wants to complete. For a test run, for example, you might only need a small amount of power, but if you want to scan the planes for unusual magic sources, which was the grand plan beforehand, you're going to need a decent amount of power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The planes are big.
Yes. And there are many of them.
Well, then it sounds like probably the most economical is to just go ahead and throw shit in there. I mean, I guess, can, like, Kelariis and I help at all?
Kelariis
like,
can
I know
breathe on it, maybe.
We're not as powerful.
I can breathe on it once a day.
Yep.
I mean, you completely shorted out that mechanism on the elemental plane of air. So...
Yeah, to put a mechanics angle on it, anybody who is a spellcaster can contribute. Spells that do lightning damage or conjure some form of lightning equivalent will be will basically grant like full progression for the spell slot that you expend on it. Anything else will be half as much because Atrine is specifically like its whole thing is that it has a resonance with lightning magic.
Right.
So we just need a buttload of volunteers with lightning magic.
Yeah, but like I think it will speed it up, of course, but I still think like they're still no. Well, we can give this a go.
I mean, we could even wait for your your squad to come back. Do any of them have? Some of them probably have lightning magic.
Very limited amounts.
Yeah, that from your experience of talking to them and training with them, Grim, Lars has access to lightning magic.
Yeah,
but he's about the only one, and also he's only a paladin and not a very high leveled one from a mechanics perspective.
Doesn't he need to smite it into stuff?
Oh no, he's not a paladin. He's a cleric. But
oh, okay. Oh yeah, he's a cleric. I forgot.
Yeah, I could just smite the crystal a bunch. Does that count?
No, I don't think so.
But yeah, well,
I think your sword might break it.
Like honestly, I think that's the only reason why we wouldn't dare trying.
Lars can cast Call Lightning up to 3 times a day, so
that's not bad, actually.
He could contribute 3 third level spell slots a day.
That's not bad. That's probably about the level as a student of magic could do, maybe more.
Well, I guess we'll travel over to the to them, and then
at the very least, I can. At the very least, if you guys want, I can just take the crystal up and explain that we need to charge it somehow. One of the professors might have a better idea.
It may also be a good idea to figure out what we're working with in terms of who can help, who can assist us in trying to charge it.
Yeah.
Well, we can just sell it as
better idea.
Like it's basically anybody that wants to do target practice of the destructive arts.
Hit the crystal.
Admittedly, we probably should ban stuff like shatter.
Also, I'll point out that it's not like they're whilst they are casting the spells into the crystal, they are channeling it in a way that is
we're not attacking it.
Like
okay.
to transfer of energy. Like, I mean, blasting somebody with a lightning bolt is, at the rudimentary basics of it, a transfer of energy. It's just a raw and incredibly uncontrolled one because you don't care about the end result.
It's like the same way I was pumping spell slots into the memory crystal.
Correct. But with a bit more of a restriction.
Yeah, basically.
Well, I guess we can
put lightning magic in it.
I guess we can still give it a go.
Either way, that frees you guys up to get the full debrief from the squad while I'm gone. And
yeah, well, it's still going to be days.
Actually, yeah, the memory crystal is a good frame of reference for what you will actually be doing, because it is essentially the same premise, but the memory crystal just had an enchantment that was like, when charged, produce output.
Mm-hmm. Whereas we're just charging a thing. Which
Yes.
we will
Which
hopefully give.
Which you will then harness an enchantment. Yeah.
Yeah. We will harness the magic we put into it and make an enchantment.
Yeah. You will just be funneling it through something far larger for a far grander outcome.
Yeah. With far more magic.
Yes.
But yeah, anyway. So I've got a lot of magic I can pump into it. Professors, potent spellcasters. Like I'll take it to Arcane Talorans and I'll update you guys.
Yes. Yeah. Worth noting that the heads of the departments are, relatively speaking, like archmages in the field. They don't have quite the same stat block as an archmage, but they have reasonable like spell versatility and output.
I mean, I'm pretty sure as well at the end of last session, I said I'll be coming over tomorrow.
I don't remember what we agreed, but yes.
I can't remember exactly.
I vaguely remember saying that.
Okay. Well, if you want to do that, then we can.
So yeah, Elizabeth's just gonna be like, yeah. So I kind of already offered that I was gonna pop over, so I can just take this over and we can, well, see.
Let them do the brain work.
Yeah.
Well, I just hope that it's, speeds along at a decent rate.
That's a thought as well. If I've got my staff, could I channel the magic of the staff into it, since a lot of that is lightning based? Or is that not how the artifacts work? Because technically it's got charges that use up a lightning spell? Or is it not classified as a spell? I guess it doesn't say it's a spell.
No, it is a spell. I would say the staff will contribute some extra progress to it. Yes, it probably isn't as impactful as a direct spellcaster, but it will add more.
Okay.
Because yes, you are correct.
Just like
it does
using
do
up the day's charges to.
Yes, and of course it won't recharge to full every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can work something out. I've got an idea of how this charging sequence could be done.
Okay.
Okay, so Elizabeth heads off. Are any of you going with her, or are you all awaiting the return of your mercenaries?
Yeah. I don't have any particular reason to go with her.
Okay.
You're
just going to stay and write another letter.
Sorry, it's just scribbling away all day.
She doesn't have a reason to come with her. She does have a reason to not go with her. It's Elizabeth.
I think it's more Arya doesn't do the scholarly pursuits.
Not really. It's not my cup of tea.
No, yeah, true.
Even though she's dating a politician.
Look.
Well,
opposites attract and all that bullshit.
Look, you don't have to be super into and amazingly, fascinated by the same thing as your partner to date them.
Yeah,
true.
As long as you are interested when they talk to you about it.
Mm-hmm. Happy to hear him talk about it. I have no interest in it myself.
Yeah. Basically, he'd be rubber ducking with you.
Yeah. And if anything, his last letter proves that.
True.
Yeah, he'd just be rubber ducking with you. That's how it would work, I imagine.
Our letters are so romantic. He writes to me about politics, and I yell at him, stupid.
He wrote one paragraph about politics. Give him a break.
Wow.
It was fine. It's just
it was just him humble bragging about the things that he did.
True.
Humble brag.
Humble brag.
Humble brag.
Well, he has nobody else he can brag to.
I mean, is a humble brag just a brag where you say I don't mean to brag at the start?
No.
No.
It's where you.
The thing that you did.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I did so and so. Like, and just sort of like continue or like relate a story to something because
but you don't like play it up or anything.
Yeah, he basically says, "Oh, speaking of so and so, this is a cool thing I did."
Moving on.
But yes, I guess.
Well, go to the capital.
So when you head off, and I guess we'll have to we'll both wait for people and find someone who could craft the ballista, this custom one.
God.
Well, I guess.
I mean, you technically, whilst you don't have the direct knowledge of how to do that, you have the necessary skills. You have
skills.
tinker's tools and you have woodworking.
You have a very specific set of skills.
And then I even have Vondal for any metal work.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
You just need some like designs to alter, maybe.
Yes.
But yeah, that is definitely something Grim can work on of his own steam.
You know what? That seems sensible. Because basically all I need to do is hold a bow in place.
Yep.
It sounds so simple that way.
Well, it's quite literally what we're trying to do.
Well, you want a nice cranking mechanism for it as well, like all good ballista.
No, we just have like 10 people on a rope that pull it back.
God.
I suppose if it's a light enough ballista, then
I
just have 2 people pull the string back.
I have a perfect vision in mind of Grim just going out into his construction site, like eyeing up the timbers that are being used to build the roofs until a foot is very firmly planted on top of them, belonging to Tiff, who promptly just stares him down and says, "Leave it."
Grim has to go, "Fine, I'll get my own wood."
Fine. I didn't want it anyway.
No, I fully imagine that Grim is like just going around like sizing up bits of wood and thinking, yes, okay,
He does it out loud too. He's like,
He's got a piece of string with some marks on it to measure things.
For ballista and stuff, you need specific kinds of wood.
You do.
Or at least if you want it to be any good.
I know, but he'd be there going, yes, about this length.
Yeah. And you've got constraints as well because you're building it to the bow size that you've already got.
Yes.
But yes, Grim. Shortly after Elizabeth ports away, Grim sort of takes a wander around the compound and starts sizing things up. What are the rest of you doing? Actually, there's probably a lot of wood left over from where they're taking down the palisade.
Oh, that's true.
Palisade wood.
Probably the wrong sort of wood for the actual ballista itself, but for the framework.
Yeah, perhaps.
Anyway, that was just a random side thought. What are the other 2 doing, if anything?
Probably nothing specific. If there are people around still like training and doing things, right?
Yes, yeah. Vondal is still doing odd bits of training.
I'll show up and knock some sense into some of the
run a few drills.
Yeah, run a few drills where it's basically like, all right, come and hit me, kids.
Yep.
Let's go.
Kelariis just 1v3s like the recruits.
They're all like,
just,
damn, I just got punched by Kelariis.
Yeah, it'll be like the Mountain Blade thing where like you train your troops by basically just beating up 4 of them.
Yeah,
in 1v4.
I sort of imagined it a bit more Yakuza, where you're just surrounded by a ring of people, and then Kelariis just proceeds to like pick people up and use them as weapons. Just
kill them.
Yeah, she would kill them.
They would just die.
Oh, now I've got the image of Kelariis going like, what is it, full beast mode and picking up one of the existing training dummies, just smacking people with it.
God, but I would be so pissed if I did that though.
Everyone just grabs weapons out of the weapon rack. Kelariis just picks up the weapon rack, just yeet. But yeah, Kelariis runs some drills. Arya, have you got anything in particular other than perhaps writing a letter?
Yeah, I don't know.
Run some archery drills.
I guess I could do that. But yeah, not much else.
Okay.
Oh, I have to summon back Lyra, so I'll do that.
Oh, yeah, you would have done that in your previous long rest, so she's back.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you specifically did that.
I don't.
Oh yeah, and I specifically gave her scratches.
You did, yes. You have not taken your long rest, however, because you're still missing hit points.
Oh yeah, I just realized that when you said that, so I'll change that back.
As is Lyra, so you can fix that as well.
Did you also remember to level up?
Yes, we did it in the session.
Okay.
Because it was nice and easy for Arya, because it was just 22 dexterity.
Yep. Which was great. I am now so I'll just show off
superhuman.
You are now quite literally superhuman, yes.
Yeah, you can just start doing fucking like backflips. You can do a double backflip from a standing start. Just go for it.
What a badass.
Like, all those people out there who tried to do like, jump off fences to do a backflip and just faceplant. Yeah, well, you can stand perfectly on level ground and do a double backflip.
Yeah. Woohoo!
Honestly, I feel like backflips do not measure what's dexterity.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
I mean, but bear in mind, Lithari, who can catch arrows with her bare hands, is dexterity 18. Admittedly, Arya has not been trained to catch arrows with her bare hands, but she does have a pair of magical gloves that she can do it with.
I do have a pair
that she never used.
That you've never used.
But like, how many times have we been shot at with like regular ass arrows?
It is true, because Arya often stands so far back from the battle that nobody is in range to shoot her.
Yeah,
like, if someone
none of the bad guys have longbows. That's why they've all got bows.
Yes.
Yeah, for real. Like,
so she's 120 feet behind the front line, and so the archers who are 30 feet behind their front line are like, well, she's way out of our minimum, our ideal shooting range. Might as well just shoot the gnome.
Yeah,
perhaps you should figure out if maybe you should swap some things around at one point.
Might as well shoot the gnome, and then that arrow does 3 pierce damage.
Yeah, I mean, if someone wants these gloves, like you can have them. But...
I don't believe they require attunement.
I don't think they do either.
Oh, can you just like slip them on? God, could you imagine somebody's just like, I'm gonna shoot the gnome, and then Grim just like whips around and catches boom.
Nope.
Well, Grim never has free hands though.
That's true.
Oh, yeah, that's true. You do require a free hand.
Yeah, so
that's probably why we gave them to Arya.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and on top of that, like it's reduced by like your dex mod.
Oh, it does require attunement actually. Yes.
Oh, okay.
If it didn't require attunement, I'd be like, gimme.
Anyway, the moral of the story is there's just not been many situations in which they have actually come in handy.
No.
Yeah, it's always magical stuff.
Trust me though, there'll be a day where you get shot at by an arrow and you'll go, hang on a second.
Yeah, because
I got this.
Because that's the thing I was going to say is you always used to forget about them where they were useful, and now that you actually like remember how to use them because you're not calculating other things, nobody shoots you because you're too far away.
They just can't touch me, so.
Can't touch this. You don't need to catch arrows out of the air if you're too far away to be even hit by arrows.
Exactly.
Could you imagine after like literal in-game years, Arya suddenly catches an arrow,
and we're all just like, "Oh shit!"
I forgot you could do that.
No, that just means you can save ammo. You can catch an arrow one turn and then immediately just fire it back at them.
That would be really just badass.
That would actually be pretty badass.
Okay. So you spend your time doing that, and as the sun begins to set behind the various scaffolds that are very slowly nearing completion of the new keep buildings, there is a runner from the front gate arrives wherever you are, Grim, and informs you that the strike team sent out to Willow River has returned.
Well, I think that deserves a debrief.
Okay. Okay, so you head towards the main building in the compound. Head up to the war room, and as you're sort of like crossing the courtyard, you see the squad unloading their transport and like unpacking all their stuff and getting ready. And Lars like offers you a salute as you cross the courtyard, and you sort of gesture to him to follow when he's ready. Give me an insight check just in passing.
Oh no. Insight. What is an insight?
Okay.
Oh, it's not bad actually.
So as you pass by them all, they all look tired, as you would expect after a day's marching from place to place, or a day's travelling rather than on foot. As you would expect them to be, they are mostly tired. But as your eyes fall on Kada, Kada is standing further away from the group than everybody else, sort of unpacking things by herself, and she has got a thunderous scowl on her face.
I'm not happy, Bob.
I think before we deal with that, we talk to Lars, the one that hopefully has everything in order. Oh.
Okay.
This will be fun.
So yeah, you sit around in the war room for a few moments, like sorting things out, and eventually Lars joins you. Salutes, like takes off his helmet, puts it to one side, stands for attention, and says, "Mission report ready, sir."
Excellent. Well, sounds like you had quite a situation in your hands. But well, just tell me how it went down.
Well, for starters, your initial expectations were correct. The killers in question were in fact Dread Legion.
That's a good start.
Indeed. The interesting part is, so were the victims.
Oh. I did not see that one coming.
No.
Although I guess...
That's pretty good.
Did you learn anything more about the why?
Somewhat. There were complications that prevented us from learning everything, but we did learn some important facts. Namely the fact that there seems to be two factions now. One group, the Dread Legion, under the command of the Lich that you mentioned. And the second group that are calling themselves the Unbegun Fellowship.
The Undergun Fellowship.
Unbegun.
Oh, unbegun. Oh, I also heard
undergun, and I was like, what's that?
Undergun? I was like, what?
There's a gun?
Undergun?
Unbegun Fellowship.
Unbegun.
It made me think that they were the guys with all the stolen gunpowder, and they were just hiding in holes.
What's that? A gun? No.
No. Just jump out of the hole. Bang! Hide.
But okay.
So it would seem that the victims, the ones who were desecrated, and he says this with like a rather unpleasant, almost like disgusted look on his face, which you don't see very often in Lars.
No, I can imagine.
Yeah, he doesn't seem too happy about the events of the desecration. So he says, those who were desecrated appear to be loyal followers, if you can call them that, to your Lich, and the other ones, the killers, were from the Unbegun Fellowship. We managed to sneak in and observe a meeting where they talked among themselves about trying to destroy something the Lich was hiding within the town itself. We believe they succeeded in whatever it was that they were attempting to destroy, which is unfortunate. And secondly, the complication, so to speak, was that we got caught, and in the rescue attempt, we had to dispatch most of them.
Well, that is, but that's a bit unfortunate. But I guess if anybody's gonna have to lose a life, I guess they deserve it out of all people. But you said they destroyed an item belonging to the Lich.
Supposedly, yes. They interrupted the group whilst they were still trying to hide it. From what we could gather, they managed to locate it and destroy it. We didn't catch what it was or what importance it was, but they seemed in two minds about whether or not what they'd done was a success.
I think there's, as far as I can tell, there's a few options. There's one that might be good for us, and one, and then the others that I don't really have a clue what that would lead to. I guess there's a few good outcomes, but they may, like, the one thing that the Lich wants to keep hidden at all times would be his phylacteries, I believe they're called. Basically, it's a do-over if he dies. Or he brings him back.
Lars sort of like scratches his chin and nods and says, "That might make sense with what they were saying. You'd have to ask Kada. She was the one who overheard the conversation."
That said, not everybody, did everybody make it out all right? Because not everybody seems. It looks like you might need some time to recover.
Lars pauses for a moment, looks at you, and then there's a faint smile, and he says, "Ah, you mean Kada's mood."
I didn't want to say it out loud, but if you if you think you can make things work out, I will trust you. It will work out, but I feel like I'm obligated to at least check in.
He nods and says, "Do you remember a conversation that we had before we departed about Orden and Kada and convincing them to perhaps get along a little better?"
Yes.
Well, that's it. You recall I said there was a complication. Kada, I will leave it up to her to determine whether or not it was her mistake that got her into the situation, but she was the one who got caught. And the reason for her foul temper, at least in part, is that Orden was the one to come up with and lead the solution.
Ah.
He saved her life, and she is not best pleased about that.
Let's see. I guess, do you want to handle this one yourself, or would you prefer some outside assistance?
As far as I'm concerned, it is for them to resolve. I think Kada has learned an important lesson, both in the error that was made and the fact that perhaps sometimes she has to learn to accept help.
Yes. Well, despite the fact that she's grumpy about it now, I think this may be a good thing for all of you in the long run. If she can if she gets over it.
I'm inclined to agree. I will admit I had my reservations about Orden and his abilities. Well, perhaps not his abilities, perhaps more his commitments. But
his allegiance, perhaps.
Perhaps. Those doubts are less present in my mind now.
Good. I don't blame you for having such doubts, and I didn't, well, unless I truly believed that his intentions are well, I wouldn't have. Well, of course, I wouldn't have allowed him to join you.
I never doubted that for a moment.
But it's good to see that it's working out, to some degree at least. Although if anything comes up, feel free to mention it, of course. Because I am, of course, not infallible. But yes.
I mean, if he gives us no reason to not trust him, I don't see why we would doubt him.
Are you here?
Am I here?
If you wanted to be there, you're
okay.
welcome to be there.
So Arya leans into the doorway and says that.
Arya just shows up
I'm
just the passage bit.
I've been eavesdropping.
Yeah.
Although I do find it funny that basically Elizabeth has missed out on this entire bit, despite all the risks involved for her family. But it's fine. But any of you are always welcome. I just assume that you don't really care most of the time.
We don't care. I at least am not much of a meetings person.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agiad was just like sitting on the balcony and just overheard the whole conversation, and then just decided to chip in.
I feel like Arya's the kind of person who wants to listen to the conversations in case she has to make a sassy remark, but doesn't actually necessarily always want to be there.
Yeah,
or just call out Grim. Honestly,
Lars turns in surprise as if he was just not aware of your presence. Like, just turns towards you and then just nods.
Nods sagely like, yeah, sure, fair.
Would you want to describe it as a bro nod?
Well, it's more like I acknowledge that you are now part of this conversation.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, what else am I doing?
Yeah, that's true.
I think like with that, Lars sort of turns back, but is still including Arya in the conversation, and just sort of says, on that note, my commendations for this mission have to go to, Orden, and to a lesser extent to Riala as well. I do not think the operation would have gone as smoothly without either of them.
Excellent. Well, it's good. It's good to hear that they're getting a chance to shine. So I guess Riala is also. I'm guessing she's been very motivated recently.
Lars nods and just sort of says, she has certainly contributed a lot more.
Yes. Well, she is. Well, I won't. I won't tell her what. I won't speak for her. So, yeah. I can imagine why. That said, I think. Well, is there any other course of action that you'd recommend, or have you not? Is there nothing you've encountered?
He shakes his head and says, "The cultists that are not dead are imprisoned by City Watch, and we received a small reimbursement for our efforts, which I'm assuming you would prefer I deal with Vondal."
I have to apologize. I got interrupted by someone.
That's okay. He said he got a reimbursement for their efforts from the city, which he assumes you would prefer him to resolve with Vondal.
Well, yeah, you can resolve that with Vondal. That said,
because that's technically keep finances, which is Vondal's shtick.
Yeah. Well, like on top of that, we've also we're fairly lenient in our policies so far, but it's good to have some order in it.
Yeah.
Did you figure out when these other cultists acquired the item they were trying to hide.
I believe they must have had it when they arrived. I think that is the reason they were looking for somewhere unoccupied.
So they didn't. Okay, so they weren't there when they acquired it. I'm guessing you didn't try to figure out where they came from.
He shakes his head and says, the Fellowship didn't seem concerned with that matter, and, well, the other cultists were dead when we got there.
I can imagine. Yes, because this may well mean that our Lich friend has been in the area recently.
It is possible if they were under direct orders from him to conceal it. Whilst we were there, we did not discover any other signs of cult activity. That was the first thing that had triggered any alarm bells. Your informant is very quick on her feet.
Yes. I must say she's been a great asset.
Give her my thanks.
I will. Well, actually, it's gonna be tricky. I won't speak to her for a while, but I'll be sure to let her know. But yes, I guess in that case, you're free to go.
He salutes, picks up the helmet, and strides out, nodding to Arya as he goes past.
Oh. This is fine. Well, Arya. See, I just had a thought. We've encountered lots of people from this group that have had their own little pocket dimensions. You think that he has one as well, or does he just travel fast?
It's hard to say, I think. I mean, I don't think we should rule it out, because, like...
No, of course.
Possible.
Well, it's just one of those thoughts that... I'm not even sure what the implication would be if this was the case.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it really changed much, but...
Well, it would change something. It means instead of looking for a person, we'd be looking for a key to enter a plane.
That's true.
Or, well, I say person, a lich, which, well, I guess it's close enough. Well, I guess we'll find out. Hopefully we'll find out.
Mm-hmm. Maybe there'll be another sighting somewhere.
Yes. Till then, I might actually. Perhaps I should check in with Riala, considering we haven't really spoken to her since our adventure with Puck. I'm sure she'll be fine. Well,
you mean the adventure where we basically got her kicked out of her old home?
Yep.
Yeah, we got her. Well, we got her kicked out of her old home, but we also did exactly what she was hoping that we would achieve.
Well, you did.
In that way?
You did relay that information to her already.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but there's always the.
Yeah, no, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's you know how when you tell somebody something in big significance and then a week later it sets in.
Yeah, you should like maybe catch up with him and say, "Hey, how are you processing this?" Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
How are y'all doing?
It's that is entirely up to Grim if he wants to pursue that.
It's like the stages of grief.
Like he might check in with her, but I don't think it's going to be anything big unless she has anything big to report. But I don't. Well, I say I doubt it. I don't know if Puck shared the news.
I will say, like, if you don't feel there's a big scene in it, like you can take a moment to catch up with her. She is still incredibly grateful for all of the efforts that you put in. Puck has spoken to her only in passing, just to sort of catch up and say, "Hey, how are you doing?" Just sort of general chit chat, and then disappeared as he usually does. She mentions that he doesn't get in touch very often unless he wants something.
That sounds about right.
Classic Faye.
Yeah. So she doesn't find that unusual. In fact, she found it more unusual that he just popped in to say hi, but she assumes that was because of recent events.
Well, I was wondering if it was more like he'd been more cheerful recently. But I guess if she doesn't speak to him that much, she wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he was just being a good uncle for once.
For once.
For once in his goddamn life.
I'm just curious as to what's going to happen at the library. Well, it's like is it even called the library? Well, I forgot the name now. So out of the blue.
What are you?
Elizabeth's little type.
Oh, okay, in the academy. Yes.
Yes, the academy. That's the word. I was like university, no library, no.
I mean, university is probably the closest to it.
Yes, I mean it is technically a university, but like yeah,
it's fine.
It's fine.
You got there eventually.
It's fine.
It is indeed fine. So yeah, we can jump over to that.
Hello,
Elizabeth. So you spend some time gathering faculty members to help you with your project of charging the Atrine. Let me find my document.
We're gonna make a cool spell effect.
Okay. So. Professors Oakenlock and Galanadel from Enchantment and Divination are both expressed their willingness to help you create a spell battery from this Atrine.
Nice.
Neither of which have a particular expertise in lightning magic. But they are both happy to contribute spell slots, so they can do so at like basically half efficiency because they don't have a specialty.
Yeah. But they've both got big spell slots.
They've got reasonable spell slots. Yes. My question to you is: do you want to try and get anybody else on your side to help you?
I mean, the thing is, much like me, Elizabeth probably doesn't want to be too much of a bother, so for now at least, she's just like brought it up with the professors who have been interested in the project and in general, or like, shown interest in the project specifically and like more directly helped, or students who have also shown similar interest in the project.
Okay. Yeah, you can grab a handful of students who will contribute a number of low-level spell slots of varying usefulness.
Because, like, for the moment, like, because I'm assuming that it's not going to, like, lose charge if we don't charge it enough.
It will eventually, but not, like, imminently.
Yeah, so for now, it'll just be, like, the students who participated in the project are urged to give it a go, and she'll happily take the help of the professors, and she'll pump
Yes.
everything. She's
Well,
got.
Professor Galanadel is happy to sort of instruct the students as part of their understanding of enchantment in this experiment in powering the crystal with their own energy.
Exactly.
So let me just check your stats real quick.
Because I'm happy to pump absolutely everything I have into this.
Okay.
Although of course I've already used one 7th level spell slot.
Yes. Okay.
But that leaves an 8th and a 9th, and
can you? We're going to make an extended Arcana check, but with the help of the 2 professors. So each of you will roll a dice, basically.
Oh, okay.
So go ahead and make me an Arcana check, and the professors will assist you.
Okay, so I'm just rolling it normally.
Yes.
Yeah.
Boom. Okay.
One of them crit. Nice.
One of them did get a crit. Not that makes a difference on a skill check, but it is the maximum possible that they could get.
28.
Okay, so as you sort of put your heads together and start like working on the charging of this, I guess how much are you willing to put into this on the first day?
I mean, I'm willing to try and put everything in.
Okay, so you're gonna blow everything that you've got.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm more than happy to pump all my magic into this.
How many of those spell slots can you use specifically and a lightning spell?
So I guess I can't. Can I not upcast then, or?
Well, you can, but the obviously if you've got if you haven't got any lightning spells at first level, you won't be able to commit your first level slots as lightning.
So basically, me to know your lowest level.
In that case, there's only 7 I can't do as lightning.
Okay. And how many is that?
Or does...
Well, actually, I'll also need to know how much levels worth of value that is.
Thunder. So that's... Yeah, that's 3 3rd level, 3 4th level, 3 5th level.
Hang on a second.
There's too many spells.
So 3 3rd level.
3 4th level.
Okay. Wait, I have to write this out as an equation. Plus 3 times 4. Next.
3 5th.
3 times 5. Okay.
2 2nd.
Okay.
1 8th.
Okay.
And 1 9th.
Can you not upcast Chain Lightning to your 8th and 9th slots?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, so this is how many you can put in?
Yeah, this is how many I can put in with lightning.
Okay. That's fine. So we don't divide this one.
Yeah. And the without lightning is 4 first and 3 second.
Oh, I didn't add the 9th. So that is...
57.
57. Okay, so that is 57 levels, and then your... Sorry, what was your non?
2 or 3 second and 4 first.
Wait. I feel like a mistake has been made.
Why?
Because you said you went the 3 3rd, 3 4th, 3 5th, and then 2 2nd, and then 1 8th. 6th and 7th level spells have been skipped. I know you used teleport.
No, I said 2 6s.
You said 2 2s.
Yeah, you said 2 2nd.
Oh, well, I meant 2 6.
Okay.
Sorry.
So that would be another 8. So
and also,
that is,
I can't use 7th today because I teleported.
65.
Over.
Yeah.
And I can't use I can't use 7th today because I teleported over, and that's a 7th level.
Yes. Yeah, that's that one I kind of figured, but the others.
Yeah. No, sorry.
It was just because the 2 times 2 one was
Yeah. Okay,
Well,
so what did you say,
Minnie,
Minnie, just now?
65.
So that is 70 total charges. How many charges do you have in the Staff of Thunder and Lightning?
See, each individual thing in the Staff of Thunder and Lightning has its own charge, is the thing. It doesn't have a set number of charges that restore a certain time. It's that
right, okay.
ability has a charge that then recharges at the next day.
Okay.
So that's... technically this one's a... Okay, so technically that one's not a lightning damage thing. That one does do lightning damage. This one is not a lightning thing, but that one is. So it's... yeah, it's six slots, 2 of which are thunder rather than lightning.
Okay.
Thunder would still count if it's
so I'm just going to count that as 4 more, so we're up to 74 charges. The professors will contribute. They can't contribute the full thing, so they will contribute 15 each, which is plus 30. So that is 104. And the students, between all of them, let's roll a D10. Okay, and that would be
promoting evocation magic.
18. So that is 122.
Damn.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
So with 122 charges, between the 3 of you, the professors and yourself believe that you can, with that energy, if you expend 100 of those charges, you can do a small scale test run.
Well, we want this to be safe, and more importantly, we want this to be, well...
working.
Yeah, we want it to be working, we want it to be safe, and we want it to be as non-exploitable as possible. So, a test sounds pretty good right now.
Okay.
We might as well do a test.
Yeah.
Okay. Would a test be like just scanning a smaller area, basically?
Yes. So, what Professor Oakenlock suggests is targeting something that you know where it is, for starters, but picking a vicinity based on that thing, and probably best not to target somewhere where there are a lot of magical sources, like the Academy, for example, just in case it shows any and all. If he says if you basically choose an area that encompasses the university and somewhere else, then obviously they're going to be able to determine like what blips might be occurring.
Yeah, that might be a good idea then. I suppose it might be worth targeting the keep as one place to look for stuff, because I know there would be magical sources there because we've got magic items there, and we've got spell effects ongoing in there.
Yeah.
That I would learn about, which I already knew about.
So, a point about scale is, again, Professor Oakenlock just suggests targeting a broad area, because obviously, the further you crank this, the less precise it's going to become. So you're going to be looking at cases where you scan for something in a broad area, and you're only going to get a general location. If you focus specifically, you might get a more accurate location.
Yeah.
So you,
broader area.
Yeah, he suggests you sort of go for a middle ground area just to check like how fuzzy the search criteria are.
Yeah. I guess could I just set like a massive aura, so everything within a set distance?
Yes.
How far?
I mean, I'll bring up the world map for you.
Yeah, because what I'm thinking is... Yeah, because what I'm thinking of is if I can extend the aura, like, out, say, that as a radius.
Okay. So you want to catch everything in sort of this vicinity with making sure you catch the keep.
Yeah, everything like. Yeah.
Oh my god, that seems massive.
Yeah, basically the Elven Kingdom and everything around, everything in its immediate vicinity.
Okay, so you're going like coast to coast. That is a pretty broad test, but it is within your capacity of the 100 charges.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, do they think it's too broad?
Well, part of it is determining exactly how specific it will give you at broader ranges.
Yeah, true. I
So
don't know, do I want a broad test or do I want a...
Well, considering you will be targeting it a broad area to do your final product, it's probably a good idea to see exactly how ambiguous it gets.
Yeah, so I'll do that big broad area then.
Okay, and what are you looking for?
Because also technically if I do that as a radius, then it'll get up here.
Yes. So what are you looking for specifically? Like what are your search criteria?
Well, I guess if we want to look for specific magics, I guess we should target a specific type of magic, like maybe a school, or like would that sort of fit the?
So the only problem with targeting a school will be that you'll get everything of that school within that radius, which might just result in you getting a massive blur, because who knows where else there is magic present.
That's true. So we want to look for something more specific, like maybe a specific type of spell. Like if we look for a specific spell, that'd be more. But I also want it to be something that I know for a fact is within that area.
Yes, so that you can confirm correct hits.
Yeah.
Just gonna dial up the keep. Hey, could you cast something?
Well, does the college have spell effects to protect its like secret vault?
Yes.
That it's got. Because if we target one of those spells, that's a confirmed hit, basically. Is what I'm thinking.
Yes, but the more specific you make it away from large sources of magic, the better reading you're going to get on how fuzzy it is.
In that case, I might try and target sequester, because I know there's a case of sequester within the keep, because that's what we use to hide the crown.
Which we really hope does not show up on that device.
Well, no, because what I'm like. Well, yeah, that's the point. It would reveal it to the caster, and if I'm the one casting,
well,
it would reveal to me, and I would know that it's accurate.
Well, it will reveal it to anyone who is viewing the orrery at the time.
Okay, in that case, we maybe shouldn't do that.
Well, like, you know, if would Elizabeth think of that, or is she just like too busy, like too focused on thinking of a good target?
I mean, no, I know for a fact that I should only target that if I'm the only one getting them.
Yes. Well, you know that the orrery will reveal the location.
Yeah. I don't want people to know the location of a thing that we're trying to hide.
Yeah.
To loads of people.
Yes.
Well. So what else could I do? What else could I target?
Well, I guess I'm not there to suggest anything.
Well, I would say what other magical effects does Elizabeth know is always active and know the precise location of it?
That's what I'm trying to think. Teleportation circles.
That's a pretty good one.
If I look at the spell teleport, would it blip teleportation circles?
Well, where do you know of a teleportation circle other than Narganthelrund?
That's a good point. This is harder than it looks.
Yeah. Well, I will say that there is one permanent spell effect that Elizabeth knows where it should be, and it is always active. because she made it.
The sword? No.
It could work.
Would it work if I look for the dragon slaying sword?
Well, that's partly what you're testing to find out.
I
if you're going to
guess
track
that's
Grim.
true. If it can find a specific artifact that is very true.
Yeah.
I guess I will specifically look for the fancy name we gave it. I will specifically look for the Red King's treachery.
Okay. So you focus up on this orrery. The crystal newly socketed into the central rings of the orrery ignites with power. You focus on this spell. The rings of the orrery begin to rotate and position themselves almost like somatic components of a giant spell. Give me an Arcana check with advantage.
Cool.
Okay, that's more than enough.
Nice.
So you feel the energy flow through your hands. The crystal sparks with electricity, and the compass, which is socketed into the base unit that you are holding, essentially projects up a thin beam of light towards the crystal, and the orrery illuminates, creating essentially almost like an illusory map of the area that you're targeting. It's not fantastically detailed, but you can pick out sort of areas of the continent that you're searching.
Yeah, and I know what I'm looking for.
And you know what you're specifically looking
between
for.
That, yeah, because I'm looking for something. I'm looking for a blip between the forest and that tiny little mountain range.
Yes. So yeah. Sure enough, as the map splays outwards, the illusory map splays outwards, there is a single highlighted section that is just sort of nebulously rolling between various different colors. It looks like a discolored section on an otherwise black and white map, essentially. Give me I guess this is probably history. Is probably the best thing to roll.
Okay, flat history.
Actually, yeah, give me a flat history roll. Okay. So your geography is pretty good, but the map is incredibly vague. It is in the right location, but it could be from what you can see on the map, it could be highlighting Ivywood Market. It could be highlighting anything within maybe 20 miles of. I don't know, 20 miles is a bit much. Anywhere within 10 miles of Ivywood Market.
That's still pretty good.
It's not bad. Bearing in mind you are only targeting a small section, or a medium-sized section of the material plane at this point.
Yeah.
Yes, somewhere within 20 miles of Ivywood Market is the Red King's treachery.
Yeah. At which point, Elizabeth will sort of step back from it, probably with a massive smile on her face.
Yeah.
Just goes, well, that's where it should be.
The moment you step back, the orrery rings sort of fold up in a line, and the atriine crystal goes dark.
Oh. Is that just because it's out of charge, or because I specifically moved away from touching it?
Well, both. You stepped away from it, the spell ended, and the crystal's 100 charges is dissipated.
Yeah. Okay, so she just says well, that's where it should have shown up.
Professor Oakenlock looks beyond gleeful. Professor Galanadel is also standing there, just sort of a little stunned. But Professor Oaklock just sort of turns to you and says, that was incredible. I wasn't expecting nearly that level of clarity. I mean, ideally, I'd like it to be much more refined, but that's something that we could potentially tweak. But the results for a beginning test are incredible. I can't recall the last time we had a project that went this efficiently.
Yeah. Well, I imagine as well we want more clarity because if the blip stays the same size on a more expansive map, then that radius will be much larger in actuality.
Yes, we're going to be looking at a much grander scale, and if we're looking across planes, I mean, it's going to be difficult to tell. And the more grey the search criteria becomes, the more things we're going to be contending with. We might see two blobs close to each other that we're not entirely sure if they're one blob or two blobs. There's definitely a lot of room for optimization, but these results are more than satisfactory.
Oh, absolutely.
The one downside with obviously the fact that this has worked and consumed a set amount of power is we're going to be looking at, goodness me, extrapolating from how much energy that took for such a short period and such a small scale across multiple planes. We're going to be looking at maybe 15 times as much energy required.
That is going to be difficult to obtain.
I can't guarantee we're going to be able to spare as much energy for that period of time. I can only hope the aging is enough to hold all of that energy. I mean, I have no reason to doubt that it can't, but
the Atrian is, of course, pretty well adapted to pretty well aligned with storm energy. So
yes,
either we need. It'd be nice to see how much or how long it retains that charge for. Because if we don't have to charge it all in one instance before using the spell, that might make things easier.
Yes, that's true. We might even be able to get away with a couple of days charging and leaving it be. It warrants some experimentation. I suppose the other thing to consider is the fact that you're doing it today on pretty much tap to dry, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to sleep. I'm going to have to rest before I'm casting any more magic.
He sort of nods and says, "Well, yes, I imagine that we'll get to that immediately afterwards. But I can imagine that if you're able to contribute some power in the moment of casting, that perhaps might be more efficient than stored energy." There are certainly a number of avenues to be pursued here, I think.
Yeah. But this will... Well, this has enabled us to continue researching those avenues.
Of course, yes. Please, but please don't consider my scrutiny any criticism at this stage. I'm merely positing potential theories moving forward.
Don't worry,
very excited.
I know the method quite well.
Of course.
What do you think then, Professor Glanadell? You've been rather quiet. Given
yes,
this is your area of expertise as well with the
yes, what
enchantment side of things.
What Professor Oakenlock is saying is, well, it's about as close as we can get. I mean, we're dabbling in experimental techniques here. I can't say anything for sure at this point. But yeah, it is certainly feasible. I am running through some ideas in my mind. Perhaps there may be ways to improve the flow of things. Given a little more time and some conductive materials, I might be able to fashion something that will make the, what do you call it? I suppose a projection more stable.
That would definitely go some way to making it a bit clearer. But hey, we've made an important step here today.
We have, and I think there are definitely plenty of avenues that we can consider forward from here. But I don't know about the rest of you, but right now I think a celebratory drink might be in order.
Yeah, that's an offer I can't refuse at this moment.
Well, then let us not waste any more time. I know a small bar on the corner of the park that is usually quite quiet and free of students at this hour, so we might be able to get some quiet time there.
Excellent. Well, provided we're not cutting in, we don't stay long enough to cut into lessons or whatever.
It's like late in
like,
the evening at this point.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. In that case, yeah, she just goes, well then, yeah, that sounds pretty good to me. You guys will obviously know this city far better than I do.
Yeah. Professor Glana sort of just steps forward and says, well, then, I'll lead the way. Yeah, you head out into the streets of Argenteuil and head to a small bar.
Nice.
Yeah, where for 2 silver pieces you can have yourself a fairly enjoyable evening celebrating with your fellow academics.
Hooray! I'll happily spend 2 silver.
Okay. Yeah, and with that, I think we will take a brief break there for drinks.
Cool.
Because I'm thirsty.
Good.
Alcohol? No.
Our own drinks.
Yeah, so we will see you in a moment.